All right, we're looking at changing out a Coleman old thermostat. This is a 2007 rig where it's got a furnace, an air conditioner, and a heat pump operation. We're going to take advantage of some new technology that it's called WalTech thermostat. Yeah, they're a little bit expensive. It will actually do Dometic, GE, Furrion, Coleman, everything. It's a universal and it actually runs in your house as well. So this is a universal thermostat. It has some built-in features I like. It hooks to the Wi-Fi. I can be out and about. It's got the pet monitoring thresholds to know what's the temperatures are for our two golden doodles. And yeah, I haven't pulled the plastic out yet. And it's got a SIM card, it's got memory. It's very powerful, and I like the fact that you can set the heat independent and the cool independent. It's got the pet monitoring there, so I can set thresholds. It says, hey, if it gets below this or above that, I want an alert on my phone so that I know that I need to change schedules and get back here and figure out what's going on with the pups. So yes, a little more expensive, but I like the features it has. So basically what it is, and I've already started the process here, there are two of these connectors here that you plug into the back of here, and those two connectors, the pros and the cons. I'll cut all the wires off here, and the reality is that you have to go to a video on WalTech and pause the video on WalTech to see what the color coding is for the thermostat you're going from to the thermostat, this new one, which you're hooking up to. I did go on the WalTech's documentation. This is the pinout of exactly what each one is and what it needs to hook to, but not all of the colors are what you'd expect. So to get the right color, the right pin in the right place, I had to basically go to their video that on this Coleman, here's the color wires because of the signal names of each of the wires. So this is just a continuation of where I was at now. I chose on this unit to go into the little wires because you're going into this little connector. But if you go into the big wires, they don't fit the little connectors. So that's why I cut the wires off the thermostat to hook it in. And there's the other connector. Take their template that they've got, which allows the unit, and the unit actually, it sits in this orientation, but if you look at the back, there are slots. So basically, it's going to start at those hole points, and it's going to go down about a ½ inch after that. So I was initially thinking it'd be the other way. So I'm going to shift everything here. So I'm starting to put the two screw holes in here for this guy. And then because another feature that I'm not real happy with, but it is what it is these connectors, when they're plugged in here, the wires go out past that point. So you need to make sure, like they show here, that you get the clearance of that hole. And what they don't show is that you actually need to clearance that hole a little bit higher so that when you shift the unit down, the wires can clear the top unless there's no wires on the top. Which in my configuration right here, I've got a wire one away from the top. So I'll need to make that hole a little bit taller in here. And then also on mine, because it's an existing system, my bottom hole is actually already here, and I can't lower everything because the unit lowers out below that once I mount it in. So I'm just going to wing it, put in the two screw holes here, but I'm going to take the top, square it out a little bit more, and that's what you're going to see me do. So we're continuing with the install of the WalTech version 2. grabbing the screw here. All right, let's grab a pair of scissors and that. All right. Now grab another tool. Yeah, let me do a little different. Let me mark it first. The WalTech unit has the 3 screw holes that offset. The bottom one actually has a little bitty screw that you put in here that holds it down so it doesn't vibrate off. But I don't expect it to bounce off. So there. And again, there's nothing in the back side of here that I see that shows me where pin 1 is, etc. So I have to go back to the diagram on the phone for their video application with it paused to get to here to see that when I'm looking at the back of it in this orientation, 1 is on the left, goes down, and then AB is on here, over here. And the AB is for the serial communication wires. Instead of 9 and 10, they call it A and B, which is serial communication, the Dometic and such. So you can make this work, like I said, on all the different thermostats. This one right here is a Coleman solution. So we are now putting it in with that there. And that there. Like that. And once you get it in, the first thing you're supposed to do is go to settings, initializing the device. You go down and you do a factory reset. And yes, you're going to lose everything. We're doing the factory reset. That's what the first thing they want you to do. Then after the factory reset, you're going to choose what type of a thermostat you have, whether it's the Coleman, the Dometic, etc. And what version of such that you're actually working with. So as the reboot continues, you'll see it come up with a splash screen, and it's still thinking, it's still resetting the factory reset. Now coming in here, what it's showing is single zone, and what I'm seeing here is Dometic single zone, furnace only, Dometic heat pump and furnace, Dometic heat pump and heat strip and furnace, GE single zone, Furion single zone, and the Coleman Air Excel home thermostat. Remember, this works in your house as well. So just to cover the other ones, in a multi-zone, you can either do the CCC 10 button or 12 button multi-zone. It actually covers the old 5-button multi-zone without having to change all the electronics out of your Dometic systems if you've got a 5-button control. and you can't find a 5-button thermostat, you can buy this. It'll talk to 5-button thermostat without having to change out the control modules in your AC units to handle the CT and that type of thing, the capacitive touch 3-button. So here's a Coleman 9 series and the Coleman 8 series and the GE multi-zone and the Furion multi-zone, and down at the very bottom you'll see also here the Coleman Mach 2 stage. Well, I'm seeing that as your units that are the underbelly air conditioners on motorhomes. So that actually is a very nice assortment of options. That's why I chose this. So the Coleman, I'm going there first. The Coleman Air Excel home thermostat. I'm clicking on here. Once I click on here, I'm going to hit finish. I'm going to select my heat sources. The first heat source is going to be my furnace. The second heat source is going to be my heat pump. The third heat source, don't have it, NA. Submit. It already knows it's a single AC unit. So now at this point, I can turn up the temperature and, well, if it's the furnace, so I'm going to set that at 58 for the minute. It's 50% humidity in the RV right now. It's 74 degrees inside right now. So the control now, we can go back. Just showing some of the features on here. You've got the thermostat control, which is this button. You can put on smart plugs, so you can remotely time things to turn on and off by putting a Bluetooth plug in here and plugging things into it like your old-fashioned coffee pot or whatever you want, or a light type of thing. And then heat and temperature sensors, you can add those into the system. You can add a propane Bluetooth sensor onto your propane tank to know the level of your propane. And everything available here is going to be available on my app on my phone. I'm going to go to control. I'm going to set cool. Okay, and it's showing furnace, heat pump, and NA for my heat sources here. The fan is on auto. Right now, it appears to be low fan. I'm going to actually switch it from auto to on. And it appears my high and low fan wires are backwards, because right there it says high. That says low. And the fan just kicked up to high. The compressor is on. So I'm going to take and pull this out and swap the two fan wires for high and low. And then the manual shows you how, but we're going to be setting a schedule basically, which is going to say, here's all the ranges for the temperatures and what I want it to do. There is a dry mode in here, so if your humidity is too high, it'll turn things on like the AC to dehumidify the place and let it get hot, but a dry hot. That's an option on here too. So we've got all the PEP monitoring and everything else we've got to set up. There's hooking it up to the Wi-Fi, so I can remote app and everything else. We're going to set all that up too. At this point, the fan is on and running. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the AC a minute and wait for it to stop. It's working. The high and low fans are backwards, so the colors, the gray and the green, if I looked on the back here and actually on the inside of here, it did not show which one was high fan, which one was low fan. And it's the gray and the green here. P2-1 gray, P2-2 green. So it did not show high and low fan. It's actually backwards at the moment. So I'm going to take this off once the AC stops. Just qualified. My wife said the compressor's off, I'm just hearing the fan. So really, literally what I did is if I go back to here in the thermostat and I go to control, right now I have it on because I wanted to know which method or which fan speed it was. So because the fan is on, I turned off the compressor, it turned off, just like it was expected to be. So right here I turned it on, now it's back to auto for fan speed, and immediately the fan turns off because the AC is off, so that worked properly. But like I say, the high-low, the fan speed, I need to flip the two. So I'm taking it back off the wall and unplugging this guy here. So at this point I'm going to pop this out. They give you a nice little lever here if I do the flat blade properly, and makes it easy to get out of there. Now I'm going to take 13 and 14, which is high and low fan, and I'm going to swap the two of them. So I want the green in 13. Do not over tighten. These are small screws. Make sure you don't have any stray strands of wire. So good and snug. Kind of like good and plenty, but good and snug. Okay. I'm going to plug it back in. So now we're all plugged back in. So now we're putting it back on the wall. And like so. Good and snug by the two screws. All right, now I'm going back from auto to manual on. And right now I'm saying low speed. And it's low speed. There's a little box right there on low speed. So now I'm going to high speed. And we have high speed. So that's properly set up. I'm going to go back to auto. And now I'm going to turn on cooling. And we can set the temperature whatever we want for the cooling. At this point I'm done. I'll set up the Wi-Fi another time.